has become a twice-a-weekend ritual in Denver. Drivers turning highways into racetracks. And the Aurora Police Department calls illegal highway racing in the metro an epidemic.
And just tonight, they responded to calls of racing and people firing guns in North Aurora. And they recovered 50 shell casings.
Now, recently, Aurora Police took investigative reporter Jace Larson undercover to show how dangerous they say racing can be for all of us innocent drivers.
All right, real quick, guys, real quick.
It's a Sunday night in Metro Denver.
Everybody bring it in a little bit. Bring it in a little bit.
Hundreds of people have just taken over a parking lot for a car show of sorts.
Y'all ready to cruise or what?
Then they head out to illegally show off their engines.
And there'll be a group of cars that'll take off and they'll race and they'll come back.
These car clubs are proud of their draw. Meetups are organized on social media.
We got a lot of cops out.
Tonight, they're going to head from Lakewood to
I-25 North all the way up to Longmont to Highway 119 to the 7-Eleven, all right?
We hadn't driven 2 blocks when we spotted this truck smoking after a 3-car crash. Few people stopped, though, because this is where they want to be, I-25 going north.
They specifically get to the highway for a reason, and that is to race.
Aurora Police Lieutenant Jace Lanigan invited us to ride undercover.
They'll do generally double the speed limit wherever they're at. If it's a 50, they're doing 100 to 110.
Highway takeovers are what concern him. Watch as these 4 cars block all of the lanes. They caused us to hit our brakes and nearly stop on the highway. Once they had the lanes blocked, the race is on. Lieutenant Lanigan estimates they were going 100 miles an hour. Then later, at one point, not knowing who was in our car, drivers tried to bait us into racing. They used their lights to signal each other. I want you to watch the guy in front of us. We're forced to nearly stop again on the freeway unexpectedly, all so he can have his fun, smoke and all.
Our city streets are not designed, and our city highways are not designed as raceways. We're not the Autobahn.
This unrelated crash 2 weeks ago of just one car going 100 miles an hour shows what a high-speed crash looks like. And this is the aftermath of 2 cars racing on Mississippi east of Buckley a few years ago.
It's become an epidemic in the metro area. They think that they can get away with this.
Racing westbound on the street.
Cheryl Moore sees it frequently from her front yard near Chambers and Smith Road.
2 cars side by side racing, going 60, 70 miles an hour.
These are race marks.
It's not just the highway. These tire marks at the warehouse area north of I-70 tell the racing story here.
They've actually painted a white line on the road right here, right in front of us.
What worries this lieutenant the most is the high speeds.
Well over 100 miles an hour right there, both those cars. We all drive these roads, and they're not expecting some car to come fly by them or fly up on them at over 100 miles an hour.
Last year, there was a record 33 people killed in Aurora crashes. Now, not all of them were racing. Aurora police have tried to stop the racing epidemic, ticketing more than 20 drivers in a recent weekend night. But it's difficult, they say, to catch everyone because there's so many.
My biggest fear is that my daughter's coming home late from work one night and somebody clips her car and puts her into a Jersey barrier. And now I have to deal with my daughter in the hospital with potentially catastrophic injuries because of their carelessness and recklessness on our city streets.
So if someone gets a ticket for racing, it's 12 points on their license, and 12 or more points for adults in 1 year means that license gets suspended. It is hard to catch these guys, though, so oftentimes people can just plead down a ticket even when they are caught. And of course, not everyone out on the road is speeding and driving like that, but you get a feel seeing that story there.
Well, when you're driving,
yeah.
and I mean, it's intimidating and it's scary.
Absolutely, and that lieutenant obviously very frustrated there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Scary stuff. Thank you, Jace.
Thanks, Jace.